Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers Podcast. What is going on? I pushed the button. There it is. Clint Nation. We are part of the Believe network of podcasts. On today's show, yes, new look, new season, new show. Who dis? But it's not really a new show. The important thing this week, guys, the Cactus League season opens, and we've got a number of little updates from Dave Roberts and the Dodgers on a number of things, including Shohei Ohtani, including Walker Buehler, other things that I feel are important around the league when it comes to your Los Angeles Dodgers. Plus Yamamoto's nasty. Probably won't talk too much about Yama. Everybody saw the first bullpen from him over the weekend, so if you haven't, just watch one of the videos. I was out of town this weekend. I didn't upload anything, but I do have some things to talk about with the bullpen, and I'm going to introduce, hopefully the show don't go too long, a new segment at the end of the show, one I've been wanting to do since the very inception of this channel. First, I am Clint Pasillas. You can find me as Real FRG on the Twitter, on the Instagram. Read about my stuff at alldodgers.com. I promised I will eventually start writing there again. Just had a lot of different little things going on, including, revamping the look of the stream. If you enjoy the show, consider giving this video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. That goes a huge, long way. We're approaching 6,000 subs already, which is pretty fucking awesome. It's completely free. It really, really helps out the channel. And either way, I appreciate you guys for getting us this far. But let's get into the comments. If you are watching this live, drop into the comments. Drop your questions, your concerns, things you have to say about the team. It's just us today. No guest today, by the way. If you didn't watch last week, if you didn't listen to last week, hung out with my guy, Mr. Greg Bergman of ESPN LA. Had a lot of fun catching up with Greg, talking Dodger baseball with him, so go check that out. Again, it is part of the Believe network of podcasts. And one last thing. Let me know where you guys are representing your Dodgers fandom tonight. Johnny Chingus in the chat, first one in the chat, says, coming at you live. Appreciate that. Let's give that a... knock off. Ta-da. Craig Osterberg is in the chat. What is going on? We got William Andrews checking in. Lieutenant, that's what I go with. Lieutenant Beaches, if I get that one right. Says Walker cooked. We don't know yet. I really, really hope not. Abstract. You just got to sound it out sometimes, kids. It says Buehler is cooked. We need to sign Montgomery. I saw one from my guy Nando390 saying Anthony Rendon hates anything fun related. We'll talk about Rendon a little bit later in the show as part of that final new introduction of a segment. Although I do realize I forgot to load up one graphic for the new segment, so it'll be a soft introduction. Johnny Chinga says Trout likes having his summers off and getting paid. He likes having his falls off for sure. This one we know. Nando390 in the chat. BC's in the chat. King Yellowman in the chat. What is going on? I already said William Andrews. Mr. John Rod says, is it still raining outside? Or asks, is it still raining? Last I checked, no, it is not currently raining right now. Let's see what else we got. Diane in the chat saying, hello, Clint Nation. What is going on, Diane? Thank you for hanging out with us on this. Normally, I would call it a Modelo Monday because I have Modelos in the garage, but I decided I'm going to have some coffee today because why not? We're going to be here a while. Or maybe not. I don't know how long we're going to be here. Kevin Uhouse in the chat says, I absolutely, unequivocally missed this show. Best part of Monday. Thank you, Kevin Uhouse, one of the top Kevins that does hang out in our chat. As I see one of the other top Kevins, Kevin Skinner, noting we are almost to 6,000 subscribers. Dan says, Yama enter me into the Compto? That one? Right over my head. But Robert Maxwell in the chat, Showtime LA in the chat, and Nando390 says Anthony Rendon hates Christmas. Let's go. Sarah Morris is in the chat. Dan checking in from Australia. Let's go. We got Richard from Devore, California. I've been there. Hector X has smashed that like button, as you guys all should be doing. IE's in the chat. We got IW, which is Indian Wells, in there. Mark cannot wait for baseball to start already. I cannot agree with Mark Bermejo. way overdid the in there. But Mark, appreciate you hanging out with us. Jimmy's checking in from Norwalk. I used to work out in Norwalk back in the day, and now the more you know about real FRG. Jenny Vega's in the chat. 275 Vet checking in from Cardinals country. And it's amazing what you can buy when you sell your shitty house in Los Angeles. You know, if you guys need to sell any houses or buy some houses, talk to Diane. She knows people. Poorhouse Picker pointing out that I'm being responsible with the coffee, and I promise you it is not spiked. But right now, we should probably get into Dodger talk, because this would be the point where somebody who doesn't understand the show, understand the show is about us having a fun conversation. People who maybe watch the show after the live and they're like, this guy just talks so much and doesn't say anything. This show is about the fans. It's about live. Tune in every Monday, every Thursday. We are live. We are going to expand as the season goes along. But let's talk about the latest with your Los Angeles Dodgers. Yes, the biggest story of the day. Shohei Ohtani did that thing where he hits the ball far, but first he gave everybody a little bit of a scare, then proved, hey, I'm all good by hitting a long bomb off JP Feyereisen. Ohtani stepped into the box for the first time, his first live batting practice session off of real pitchers, human pitchers, American pitchers. You got Ryan Brazier, Blake Trinan, JP Feyereisen all also throwing their first lives of spring training. Did not swing against Brazier, so Ryan Brazier got his first easy K of the spring. That means nothing in the stats books. Why this is big, though, for Ohtani, outside of everybody wants to see Ohtani rock dingers, and it's going to be so much more exciting when he's actually doing it at Dodger Stadium as opposed to Camelback, on the backfields where not all that many people have access to. So for Ohtani, these are his first swings since the oblique injury last year with the Angels and since the season-ending elbow surgery with the Angels last September. So seems to be on target, as they've said, since he signed, seems to be on target for that opening day start in Korea next month. Did give everybody that little bit of a scare with the foul ball off his right instep. I'll play that clip right now, kind of talk over it a little bit right here. The important thing about this pitch is that it, to me, and I think to a few other folks, it showed that Blake Trinan's kind of nasty right now. And I'm really, really holding out hope that we have Blake Trinan all the way back, that we have the Blake Trinan that we knew in 2021. I mean, since he signed with the Dodgers, he's been a really, really effing good pitcher. And to be able to get BT back, BT 49, all of his problems aside, you get him back in the bullpen and performing at a high level, that's a good thing. So if he's able to make Shohei Ohtani look foolish on his first pitch of the spring, first pitch of that at bat, first whatever, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. But player in the chat says that reaction was scary for sure, because I think we were talking about, I tweeted about it too, when over the weekend there was the potential that Ohtani was going to do his first lives over the weekend and he was going to face Alex Vesia, and that scared me because we know that Vesia has the ability to lose that ball up and in, maybe we'll call it head side for a left-handed pitcher or a left-handed swinger like Shohei Ohtani. But he did not end up batting that day, and everything turned out well. So flash forward, gave everybody the scare again, and later he did strike out. I should note, Ohtani strikes out against Blake Trinan, but he did end his day, did Ohtani, with this. So the audio didn't go out to you guys, but that was the sound of a number of baseballs being hit very hard and very loud by Showtime. It's what you like to see. That's why you sign a dude for $700 million to take the ball, make it go far. That was off of JP Feyereisen, who has been a Dodger, what feels like for almost 2 years, but he's never thrown a competitive pitch for the Dodgers. Again, proves that foul ball off the instep was no biggie. You do have the long shot from Shohei, and you're feeling really, really good about where things are at heading into the Cactus League lid lifter on Thursday. So 2 days after our next stream will be just after the whatever the final will be for that final spring, or that first spring training game against the Padres. A couple of notes before we get into the comments here, or maybe let's pivot. Let's put a pin in it for a second. Let's get into the comments, because Man 5 Dodge. I like this. Are we going to walk all over eggshells with Otani all year? I hope not. I hope. I think Otani, in the way he kind of I don't know if it's the media perception with the Angels the last few years or whatever. I think he's trying to kind of change his own perception with some things. And I think the Dodgers are just a so much better run organization over Anaheim that he just immediately appears happier to be there, happier to be around his teammates. You're seeing him interact. Not to say you didn't with the Angels, but I'm really, really hoping that Shohei is just one of the dudes with this team. He's not going to be somebody that the media needs to be exceptionally careful about, even though you need to be responsible with what you report about Shohei, with whatever you happen to put out, or, no need to go beyond that. He has a responsibility to his team, to his new fan base, to give them everything he has, both on the field and off the field, to a certain limit. So eggshells, I don't know if it's going to be as bad as, not that it was bad, again, I don't think it's going to be as restricted like it was when he was with the Angels. So appreciate the question from Man 5 Dodge. My guy, Hamilton Cerna, asking, do you think we'll see Otani hit in Arizona or only in the Korea series? So that's a good segue to my next part of the show. We will see him hitting in Arizona. You just won't see it in game one. We'll talk about that in a second. 275 Vet, noting the beautiful, the sweet, effortless swing of Shohei Ohtani. I mean, we saw this guy in his first, on the field batting practice session a couple, a few days ago, last weekend or early last week. It was 109 off of batting practice pitching, and he just absolutely tatered a home run at Camelback. So you feel really, really damn good about his ability to make ball go far all the time with that very, very effortless swing. So getting into, let's see, a few more of the comments right here. Johnny Chingus says about 100 of us watching. This was a little while ago, but you got to go hit that like button, guys. We cannot stress enough. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're here. We're trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of my life, or maybe by tomorrow or something like that. I don't know. Things are going really crazy right now. Thank you, Shohei, and thank you all the folks for hanging out and, joining the rocket ship to La Puente, I guess is what we're calling it here. Doom Sal, what's going on? Sal says, glad Sportsnet LA is going to be televising the Korea games. Yeah, I was a little worried it would end up being, or I think it's ESPN also has them, if I'm not mistaken. So you got ESPN LA, but luckily we should have Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser on the call, or Joe and somebody else, or at the very worst, not really a bad second, is Steven Nelson, who was a really, really great addition to the broadcast team last year. What did I almost miss here? We got a super chat. You guys want to dance? Remember when we used to dance? But anyways, Richard Flores, $4.99, $5 super chat. Just about. Appreciate you, Richard. Says Padre spring training hats are obnoxious. Hot dog on a stick. And Anthony Rendon can't believe how obnoxious they are. There's a lot going on in that comment there, in that super chat. But I think I could not agree more, Richard Flores. I don't know that I could really remember what the Padres spring training hats look like. I know I'm not a big fan of the D, as it were, with the Dodger spring training hats. But then again, that's just me. I have a little sipple of the coffee there, but I appreciate the super chat again from Richard. But let's get back into what I was talking about. So before the long break here. However, the hell Hamilton kind of teed me off to into the next part. So the Otani news, I guess we'll say. This is the other part. Yeah, he hit home run. We know that one. Dave Roberts did confirm over the weekend, or might have even been this morning, the Dodgers are kind of still slow playing Otani this spring. He's not going to be playing in the Cactus League lid lifter this Thursday, game 1 of the Cactus League season. I'm okay with that. What I hope for, though, is the very next day. Let Otani be in there for game 1 at Camelback Ranch. And I think this is where it's really tough in baseball. You know, pitchers usually, like the big name pitchers, you know, Dave also said Yoshinobu Yamamoto, don't expect him in game 1 of spring training, which that makes more sense. Usually for spring training, it's kind of like you're going to see the Eliezer Hernandez type of dude, or I don't know, insert other random name here. I don't even think you'll see somebody like an Emmett Sheehan for game 1. It's going to be somebody who's either a non-roster guy, maybe even a reliever to open a game, but none of the big names will be starting at least game 1 of the Cactus League season. But to me, and maybe some of you guys agree with it, I'm going to kind of make this the question of the day. You know, what's fair when it comes to stars being in the lineup in spring training games? Or not being in the lineup or whatever. Let's say even mainly the position player side of things. I remember back in 2020 before the world ended, Shohei's friend, Shohei's new teammate, Mookie Betts, he played in, I believe it was game 1 of the Cactus League season. And, you know, I mean, he is in a different situation. He wasn't coming off of elbow surgery and all this kind of stuff. But still, I kind of feel like the stars owe it to the fans to be playing in the games, you know, in these these spring training games, as opposed to like, oh, you know, I'm in my progression and all that. Like, I get it. You're also supposed to be world-class athletes. Fans are coming out from God knows where, all over the country, sometimes, especially now, all over the world, to possibly just see you. And you're not going to be in the lineup. And I think that's kind of a problem. You know, these spring training games, I don't know if you guys are really paying attention over the last 10 years. The tickets are not getting any cheaper. That it's I wouldn't say it's a problem, but it's something to start looking at. You know, for me, it's definitely not like it was 10 years ago. This is I think this year's year 10 in a row for me going out to spring training with the boys. And before, even at Camelback, you can go get a $9, $12, whatever lawn ticket, enter the park, as old man screams at cloud here, but you can enter the park for cheaper and then, you know, find a spot around the ballpark. And yeah, I understand the amount of hype with Dodger camp and fans now. You're not gonna be able to like just kind of sneak into a better seat, but you can do it just about anywhere around spring training. Get a cheap ticket, find an empty seat somewhere, enjoy yourself. Usually can't, again, when the Dodgers are in town or when the Dodgers are at that ballpark, just because we got a fan base that'll travel. But still, tickets are getting really, really dumb expensive. And if I'm paying $45 to see a meaningless spring training game somewhere, you know, somewhere on the, as this thing gives me trouble, somewhere on the infield-ish dirt, I would want to see Shohei Ohtani in that lineup. Maybe that's just me. I doubt that's just me. But let's get some thoughts here from the chat here. First thought I see. We got a super chat from John Bleeding Blue, $5 super chat. Thank you, John. I thought I was supposed to dance. Don't have music on this. Maybe I should add music, but we got the gong. We chose the gong together as a family. John says, the Angels are wondering why so many Dodgers batting practice balls are landing in Tempe, Arizona. Thank you, Otani. Yeah, ball go far when Shohei hits off the bat. That's a pretty long distance, by the way. They're pretty damn close, but also still pretty damn far. But thank you to John. What is that one? I don't know what that one is. Are we talking about live streaming on Facebook? That I missed. If I ever miss anything that's exceptionally important, guys, go ahead and DM me. I'll try to get back to you, by the way. Sometimes it's hard to really keep up in here, especially if I'm trying to get into a conversation. Jenny Vega, one of our favorites here on the chat, says platoon during spring training to give everybody a chance to make the roster. And then it does this weird thing where it doesn't actually show me the emojis. I mean, a lot of the times early in spring training, you'll see the stars get their 2 or 3 at bats, and starting pitchers after like a week into it maybe get an inning or two, or start to get into like the 3-inning range or whatever it is. But still, I would like to see the big name guys in there a lot sooner. I want to see, you would assume Mookie's going to be in there. Just let Shohei get 1 at bat during the Cactus League opening day at Camelback. That's what I think. That's what I want. I think it's reasonable. Bob Student 10 says, "Get off my lawn." That is me, and I had to air quotes it because there was quotes on it. But that is I am Get Off My Lawn Clint, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Kevin Newhouse says, "Stop giving away the spring training secrets." I got a lot of spring training secrets. My thing is I love me some spring training. It's fun. Even when I go out there, I don't necessarily care about just seeing the Dodgers play. In fact, me and my group very rarely go and see the Dodgers play. We'll see them maybe once, one time when we're out there. So, hey, you know what? I am going to give you some secrets right now. So this is, I don't have a thing, but I got, does that really work? I don't have I probably do somewhere. It says there's like 100 different buttons on here. But anyways, here's my spring training secrets. Explore the greater Arizona area of ballparks. Arizona has beautiful ballparks out there. Some of them are cheap. Get there early. Tailgate with people. The best people to tailgate with are Maryvale, or now it's called American Family Field, in Maryvale, Arizona. That is the home of the Brewers. That is a fun ballpark. It is a nice ballpark. Always a nice, chill breeze. Lawn tickets are cheap as hell. And again, you will meet some of the nicest Wisconsin type folks out there. Milwaukee Wisconsinites, drinking and cornhole and all that kind of stuff. So if you can see the Dodgers at Maryvale, try to. It's a worthwhile venture. However, either plan on staying very late after the game or leaving before the final pitch, because getting out of the parking lot is a bitch and a half. So that's one of my things. I say, try to see the Dodgers on the road if you're going to, or just go enjoy a game without the Dodgers. There's a lot of fun to be had to go see. Let's say I'll stick with the Brewers. See the Brewers at the A's. They play at Hohokam ballpark, although Hohokam is getting very expensive for some stupid reason. What is it? Surprise Ballpark is another beautiful park. Goodyear Ballpark is a great time. Really good food close to Goodyear, and that's one of the first parks you hit when coming in to Arizona from California. Those are just a couple of little tips. Don't plan everything around Camelback. Camelback has, I've said it for years, kind of been one of my least favorite places to see a ball game. A beautiful ballpark, but around the backfields and all that, it's there's a lot of restrictions. It's not too bad. You can get close, but there's a lot of little restriction as we're at other ballparks. You can get super close to these people. But anyways, I was going to get into a whole spring training tips and tricks and all that. I like what 275 Vet says. Pointless or not with these games, I'm just ready to watch some baseball, and we will have baseball on the telly, as the kids call it, this Thursday. Nando390 says you just got to be drunk for those meaningless games. Beer is still expensive out there, not as expensive as we are going to see this coming season. Sal said he remembers the $10 seats behind home plate, and this is the ballpark right now. It's not very old. This is what year something year 15 of Camelback Ranch, and again it keeps cranking up the prices year after year, but that's what you have to do. You have to pay all ways, shapes, and forms to find a way to foot the bill for the Otani tax. Rebecca Romero, my friend, says in the chat, says, I love spring training, worth every penny. That said, spring training baseball is just, there's not a different, or it's hard to find a better environment to watch these. And I highly recommend either going very early in spring training or pretty late into spring training to get the best of both worlds. Towards the end, it's a lot of you could tell everybody's just done with it. Early, there's still excitement. You get to see kind of everybody on the roster, at least a lot of the important people on the roster, down through the 40-man and even some of the off-roster guys. This year, MLB is doing this new thing that's kind of cool too, and this is the week I will be out at spring training. They're they're calling it spring training breakout, which is almost like a minor league all-star game, but each team is getting like their top prospect, and they're putting together top prospect teams to play each other. And it's kind of like part of double headers they have going on out there. So there's your pro tip number 87 or whatever I've given you, if any of these are even pro tips. But yeah, you can see 2 games for the price of 1 out there in Arizona, which is kind of cool in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And hey, if you guys see me out at the ballpark, I will be at 1 Dodger game. I guess 2, because Angels are playing Dodgers at Tempe. But anyways, I'll probably expand more on this spring training stuff in a different video at some point in time. But yada yada. Let's see. Let's get into a few of the things. Hamilton asking about the Trout comments. I'm going to talk Trout later on in the show. Let's scroll down. Michael enjoyed, he asked for the spring training secrets. Do tell, and I gave some. I will give more, perhaps, in a different video. Carnivorous Lunar Activity has joined the chat. What is going on, Carney? As I barely put together was like the shortened nickname, because I always see Diane refer to you that as Carney or whatever. So anyways, the more you know, the more you know. Let's see. Let's get down a little bit here. My friend Bobbert Lopez, what's going on, says, let's go. And that's an important point. Let's go. I don't know if you're saying let's move on, but whatever. My guy Hamilton is in the chat. Like I've already said, he is one of the guys who go to spring training with me, and he points out the hat that Sloan Park, Cubs Park, has a kids only autograph line before the games. I'm not an autograph guy, but that's a cool spot. Some folks know the little runway between the main facility and the backfields. I had to point to remind myself where I'm at. At Camelback is a good spot. I actually have some footage. I was supposed to make a video last year about it. I'll probably do something spring training-y related, like I said, in another video. So I'm not going to do too much more on this. But Jenny says maybe I should make a video with those tips, and I will do that soon enough, because why not? One last one here from Richard Flores earlier. Super chatter says Salt River Field at Talking Stick is the best. I love Salt River Field. Beautiful ballpark, home of the Rockies and Diamondbacks. And usually if there's big games happening out there in Arizona, they tend to happen at that ballpark. The Arizona Fall League, like championships happen there. Really, really cool ballpark out there. But let's move on. I wanted to see if I see anything else that looks exceptionally pressing on there. Let's move on. Let's talk actual Dodgers news. I mean, I guess the other stuff is news. Shohei Ohtani hitting a homer feels like news, because everything Shohei does is news. But over the weekend and a little bit into today, we got a Walker Buehler update. Dave Roberts said no Cactus League games for Walker this spring. Not unsurprising. Walker said hopefully, maybe later in the spring. He wants to try to get out. He does want to try to at least throw 1 or 2, whatever it may be, games, in the Cactus League season, in spring training. But whether or not he does, TBD at this point. The important thing to Walker, to the Dodgers, and I think to all of us, is he just wants to, when he starts, he does not want to stop. Injuries are one thing, but he doesn't want to have to worry about the innings restriction heading into October. So what they said by Jack Harris, Mr. Jack Harris, Los Angeles Times, he tweeted about it today. The next steps for Buehler right now. I should have had the little clip here or whatever excerpt of the quote here on the screen, but I did not, so I'll just read it to you, and you guys get to enjoy. Buehler, it's making sure he bounces back okay between his bullpens and between his outings, and then he's going to build up the stamina. Reminder, this is a guy that hasn't really pitched for the better part of 2 years, maybe even longer. Not quite longer, but he hasn't been right in a while. Even in 2022, when he was on the mound, he wasn't fully 100%. But the quote from Mr. Buehler, I need to get to a spot where I'm not hampering our team from an innings perspective to be on the roster and to be in the rotation. So I said very, very early in spring training, in the offseason, like, I'm okay with Walker not pitching until May. Like, that's fine. They have enough This team has enough other pitchers. They have enough minor league dudes that can fill up the rotation for the first month of the season. If it's longer, so be it. As long as when Walker comes back, he's all the way ready. He's all the way right, because he has everything on the line this season and into the offseason. This is his platform here. He's trying to make money. He's trying to secure the bag. He's trying to either get himself a very long, lucrative deal from the Dodgers, less than likely, or get himself big money from some other team in free agency, although it doesn't seem like too many teams want to spend all that much in free agency unless they are the Dodgers, because we got a few big names still out there. Beyond that, if we are looking at some of these injured guys, we know Kershaw, we're not going to hear anything new or major about Kershaw for a while, but Dustin May, there was an update over the weekend. Fabio Nardaya of The Athletic posted an article, a mailbag today, and he posted an article last week that I thought had some interesting notes in there from D-May. Of course, we've already talked about D-May on the channel a few times over the last week or two, but D-May says he's feeling better now, and this is me paraphrasing. He's feeling better now than he did at any of the other points through his last Tommy John rehab. One of the quotes they said was, let's say, in so many words, he feels better. He said he didn't really ever feel great. The elbow didn't really ever feel great, and he was hoping it would feel better as his rehab progressed. So I don't know if that was indicative of that forearm injury that he had that ended up, given out in whatever it was, June last year or May, as it usually happens for him. But interesting to see. So Dustin's hope now is to be back sometime in August. And as for a role, already made a whole video about it. I think his future belongs in the bullpen. I think his best future with the team and as a major leaguer is in the bullpen. I'll link that video. I'll try to remember to put it up there and then down in the description below. But if he does come back, it's going to create, I don't know about create some issues. It's going to add to the optionality that this team has. It's going to add to the competition in case somebody's either hurt or not doing well. Then Dustin May could challenge, for some time in August or September as a starter or in the bullpen. But if Dustin does get healthy in time for this season, like I'm saying, the pitching picture is going to be very, very crowded, whether it's going to be in the starting rotation or in the bullpen. And, you add to that, the hope that Clayton Kershaw is going to be back in July or August. And, just Kershaw alone. Kershaw has a spot in the starting rotation, however it comes. But you're adding Kershaw to, if all things go the way they hope, the way we all hope. We have Kershaw joining Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow. We would assume a Walker Buehler by then. Bobby Miller, James Paxton, Emmett Sheehan's still going to be around. Gavin Stone's still going to be around. Michael Grove probably will be in the bullpen by that point. River Ryan is still going to be around. But all these guys are going to be kind of starting, rotation options at that point. For Dustin May, when it comes to the bullpen, that's going to be another jam-packed situation as well. If, things go the way the Dodgers hope they do this season, really, towards the end of spring training here. That said, segue, Dave Roberts did say over the weekend, the plan this spring is to leave, I guess we'll say leave spring training, really leave the country, go to Korea, and to have the rehabbing right-handers, Blake Treinen, JP Feyereisen, and Daniel Hudson all in the bullpen when the regular season kicks off in March. So those guys now, they're joining Evan Phillips, Brusdar Graterol, Joe Kelly, Alex Vesia, Ryan Yarbrough, who's another guy I probably should also mention in the starting pitching options. So it's a stacked house up and down the pitching staff if everybody's healthy, if things come together the way the team wants or hopes or expects. And that, again, is another one of the things that leads to some, I guess, trouble for Dustin May in finding a job in this starting staff or in this pitching staff later on in the season. The thing we love about baseball, we know if you're good, you find a way to they find a way to get you into the lineup, to get you onto the roster. So hopefully he forces somebody's hand. I personally don't think all of Dan Hudson, JP Feyereisen, Blake Trinan, I don't think everybody's going to be healthy at all at one point. And same with, hell, even Kershaw, Paxton in the starting rotation. There will be an option. There will be some opportunity for D. May. But, we'll see. One thing, a side note, if I'm mentioning Feyereisen a couple of times now, talking about bullpen, not helping JP Feyereisen's case for that opening day roster are the 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs he served up on Monday. That is to Shohei Ohtani, Gavin Lux, and Chris Taylor. He served up bombs. He said he felt physically fine. He just didn't have a good feel for the baseball. So luckily, this is all meaningless. These spring training outings mean even less than Cactus League outings. There are no stats when it comes to just live BPs. But I will note, JP Feyereisen is one of the guys that does have minor league options left. So if he makes the roster, they can send him down, or they can just straight outright him to minor league camp, and it wouldn't be that big of an issue. He is somebody that will help the team over the course of a season, but if it's not an opening day, it's not that big of an issue if he still needs time to get right from that shoulder surgery. So there's a bit of whatever about what's going on with your Dodgers, some updates, really focused on the pitching staff side of things. And now let's hear what you guys have to think as I see Super Chat pop up at the perfect time because I was done ranting. Rebecca, the Dingers family, sends a $5 super chat. Thank you, Rebecca. Very much appreciate the support on the channel and appreciate everybody supporting the channel by leaving a thumbs up if you haven't already, subscribing if you haven't already. If you guys watch the show but you haven't subscribed, you might as well subscribe. It's literally something that does not cost you a dime. As I apparently got to change out this very, very old mic cable I've had for probably 8 years. But I did see another one a little bit ago. I think John Bleeding Blue sent another super chat. Yes, thank you, John. Says, can Boris clients file for unemployment? So I am going to talk a little bit more about Boris clients and really focus on Bellinger in a second. But John, Bleeding Blue, thank you for the button. Thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you, Rebecca and the Dinger clan, for the super chats. Much appreciated. Your guys' support does mean a lot to the family here in the household. But that would be funny if they could file for unemployment. The funnier thing is they could also go out and get themselves 1 year jobs and make a shit ton of money and have zero issues with that and get back out on the the free agent market next year. But that's usually not what Scott Boras goes for. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of this free agency plays out now that games are literally about to start. I mean, we are in the week where spring training games start, and we've seen some players sign this late into spring training before. Dodgers fans can remember that from the past. I think Manny Ramirez is one of those guys back in 2009 when he re-signed. Still not a good look. It's still not where you would want to feel. Like if I'm Cody Bellinger, I would not be feeling in a very good spot. We know teams want Cody. We know teams want Blake Snell. Like the Yankees are in a bad spot, and I was watching. Not that he needs any plug. I was watching Ken Rosenthal on his Fair Territory show on Foul Territory earlier today. Check out Foul Territory, of course. They do awesome work over there. But like the thing with somebody like Blake Snell, the Yankees have expressed interest, but he was pointing out, like if it's a 1 year deal at like $40 million, it's actually going to cost the Yankees somewhere around like $84 million because they're already in that highest tax threshold where I think it's 110% tax or whatever. So nobody really wants to focus too much on that tax thing, or I mean, some folks do, but I don't think we always remember about that tax issue. So the options are getting much slimmer for somebody like a Blake Snell, for even somebody like a Cody Bellinger with today's news coming out of Chicago. But let's get into a few more comments before I talk about that news out of Chicago. PJ, if we're going back a little bit, PJ says Dustin May is Glass Dreifert 2.0. And to that I say ouch, because I was a big Darren Dreifert guy. Love that dude. And it just sucked that he fell apart like every step of the way. I've seen a few folks wanting Phil Bickford back. He has a job. He's with the Mets. He also, I don't know if that was a real photo of him that circulated online. I think I retweeted it at one point on my tweeter machine. Find me, Real FRG. But if that is him, we might need to do a welfare check on my guy Phil Bickford to make sure, he's staying off the powder. Oh, powder, sweet powder. Anyway, he look a little rough, look a little worse for wear. But Phil Bickford is not coming back. Plus, he would be one of by far the worst options in the Dodger bullpen, in my unhumble opinion. Jose Ayala says no rush for May. Let him recover completely. I fully agree with that. I would love to see him just take his time. If he doesn't come back this year, or if it's in September, if he finds a way onto the pitching staff, I think something went wrong somewhere else. That's just kind of my thought process on it. This team already has enough options, enough very, very good options up and down the roster, where if they are healthy, those guys should be in the bullpen or in the pitching staff before D-May, because D-May has proven he can't stay healthy. And we haven't seen him pitch in October since 2020, if I'm not mistaken. So it's kind of a no for me, dog. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, we always have a great in your face, sucker, comment from Carnivorous Lunar Activity. It says F the pitch clock, and we appreciate the consistency. Deborah Young in the chat saying great show, Clint. Thank you, Deborah Young, for hanging out. Let's see what else. I think we're talking about right now the Cubs news, the David Peralta news. I'll get to that in a second. Nando390 says the uncertainty with Buehler means the Dodgers should really trade for Luzardo or Dylan Cease. I personally don't see another move from this team. I do think I saw there was a note or like some quote from Walker Buehler on that podcast he's been a part of for the last couple of years. I forget what it's called. I think it's called like Just Baseball Show or whatever it is. But that Walker saying, and maybe it was old. I saw it today, but maybe it was an old quote, but it was something about like he doesn't think Andrew's done. I kind of think we're at a point where Andrew's done. I don't think they're going to do anything else major to this team, unless it's like a straight up game changer. But there's no other game changer points, points for this team, because they're going to go into the season with Gavin Lux. That would be a point of question mark, but I think that's still a good enough question mark where it's like you don't feel really bad about him there. Right field, you feel okay about at least seeing what the Hayward-Margot tandem can do. And if that doesn't work, you got Chris Taylor. If Lux doesn't work, you got Chris Taylor. You got Miguel Rojas. They're in a really, really good spot. So, and as King Yellowman notes also, already at the max, luxury tax at this, or I think, are they passed or did they get below that what do they call it, the Stephen Cohen tax? I don't know kind of where they're at with that. I haven't looked at the latest numbers, but if they're at it, I guess it really doesn't hurt if they're just going to keep going a little bit more. I wouldn't. I like this team. I want to see what this team can do. That's just my thought on it, at least. Workshop my way through that whole part, but I think we found a good, happy ending to it. Anyways, let's see. Zubai Din asking what's Anthony Rendon's malfunction. We'll get to that in a second. William Andrew said Lance Lynn just gave up a grand slam. And that's the joke, guys. We always appreciate. There's one thing we appreciate in here. It's Lance Lynn giving up home run jokes and F the pitch clock jokes, because that's what we're here for. Matty Man 5 Dodgers encouraged that Gavin Lux homered off of JP Feyereisen today. Hey, JP had a every ball almost go sale, giving up 3 home runs, and I don't even know how many at bats, but it be like that sometimes. Let's see. Bob Student 10 says Lux is my hope for a breakout season. As I'm catching up a little bit more here in the chat, we're talking about the Boris unemployment. Boris clients applying for unemployment, saying King Yeoman says max unemployment is $450 a week. So I mean, it's carnivorous activity. Stole my joke, or I stole his joke, or whatever. It says weed money for belly. $450. I think they can still get you some dank these days. I don't know. It's not my bag. Yeah, my body is a temple. Carnivorous activity talking about the Phil Bickford picture looking like a Tamu Phil Bickford, and we appreciate that kind of humor. As Boyd checks in from Chino, nailed that one. Thank you, Boyd, saying get her done, boys. But let's finally talk about this. A lot of comments going on here. Appreciate you guys. Sarah Morris talking about the Liam Hendriks signing with Boston. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about as well. I almost missed this one. Jose Ayala, $2 super chat. Says, asking, Clint, do you think Snell will sign a 1-year deal with the Dodgers? No, not even slightly. I just don't think if he's signing a 1-year deal, it's going to be big money. It's gonna be very big money, and I don't think that's where this team wants to go. I think they wanted Snell. They would have been in the market for Snell, and the Dodgers almost kind of famously this offseason were one of the teams that were never in as there's a fly attacking me now, never in on Snell. So I would say no. But thank you for the super chat, Jose. Thank you for hanging out with us as well. I think I saw somebody saying, where was it? Swollen Sausage saying, damn, cold, flu? No, just he's screaming, yelling like I do. Went camping this weekend, and a lot of drinking, a lot of talking equals your boy's voice being a little hoarse. I messed up the horse noise. Swollen Sausage also bringing up another important one, another golden standard here on the internet of Fire Dave Roberts, so we got to get that one in there. We always appreciate Fire Dave Roberts in there. But, all right, I already said it. Let's talk about it. Here is the new segment that I am debuting or introducing, even though it's been soft introduced a few times already on the channel, and it was initially going to be the entirety of the channel before I decided to put my face on it and come out of retirement. But field level baseball, or I really should just call it all baseball live. Whatever, I'll figure it out if I decide to change it. But this is where we talk about things that aren't exclusively Dodgers. I do want to branch out on the channel a little bit. I don't want to just limit myself to Dodgers because I think there's a lot of opportunity to talk about all things baseball. It's one of the limitations I've always been forced with, not being able to talk about all things baseball when there's so much to talk about. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on around the league. Few things, of course, still do have to deal with the Dodgers, as they almost always do. Yes, David Peralta signs a minor league deal with the Cubs today. Still he's coming off that elbow surgery that sapped him of all of his power in the second half of the season last year with the Dodgers. One of the more annoying revelations that came after the season was, that injury and how much it affected his swing, his ability to throw and all of that. But he gets that minor league job. That's cool, I guess, for him. He gets it with the Cubs, which you wonder if that's also the Cubs, if that's Chicago trying to put the pressure on Cody Bellinger at least a little bit, because Cody wants to get a big-time pay job, whatever you want to call it, and the Cubs really want him back. It seems like it's a match made in heaven. His first year with the Cubs went really, really well, endeared himself to that fan base very, very quickly. And, if it wasn't for a bad final month of the season, that was a playoff team kind of unexpectedly. So now DP goes to the Cubs, fighting for a job there. You would presume that a minor league deal does not supersede a Cody Bellinger major league deal. But they're I don't even know what the hell you would call it right now. They're having a staring contest. Nobody wants to move. Boris has got his head up his ass. Cody's got his head up his ass. The Ricketts family, or whoever the hell owns it, if it is still the Ricketts, the Cubs ownership says, "Oh, we won't talk to the agent. That should be the GM's job." But Boris operates in his own way. But you do wonder about a deal like this. As somebody likes, Jenny Vegas says it's a good take about the Cubs putting the pressure on Boris and Belly. It's very much what it feels like. Now, if I was Cody Bellinger, I would already have all of the reasoning to sign with the team, sign back with the Cubs that I would need, because I don't know if you guys saw this one. Cody got the offer of a lifetime is what I'm calling it. He got an offer where if he returns to the Cubs, the world famous deep dish pizzeria Lou Malnati said they would offer him and his mom and his family a lifetime free pizza if he returns to the Cubs. Of course, it's a joking thing, but I mean, I would I'm gonna get a whole bunch of money, probably $30 million a year or whatever. But if I could also get free pie, now we're not gonna get into the whole is deep dish pizza debate. Done that a whole bunch over the years. It's not a pizza, but it's enough of a pizza, and I enjoy it in random doses. But anyways, that's kind of funny. I do not think we see Cody Bellinger being swayed by pizza and Lou Malnati's, we'll say. But I do kind of hope Cody ends up back there in what are they called? Back with the Chicago Cubs. That would be nice. I think it was a good fit while it lasted. Let's get into a couple comments here because I see some things that are relevant right now. Kevin Newhouse saying Cubs outfield would be pretty potent if they had Bellinger back, having Suzuki, Peralta, and of course Ian Happ. That's a good amount. That's a good mix. And of course, they have a first baseman now, but Cody can still mix in at some one. He's won a Gold Glove as a right fielder. He plays a really, really good center. They would have some options in and around DH. Of course, their first baseman being Michael Busch. Forgot to mention that. Bob Student 10, an important note here says lived in Chicago for 5 years. That is not a pizza. It is a pie. That's why I choose the proper terminology of a deep dish pie. Fuck off, you fucking fly ass bitch. Stay for that, guys. King Yellman says Belly would probably sign for $2 million with free weed in Anaheim. No, nobody wants to be in Anaheim. I mean, except for Mike Trout. Foreshadowing, we'll get there. What did I see here? BC, I'm not gonna read your comment, but I love it and I think it's hilarious. Never, ever, ever will happen though. Never will happen. But Swollen Sausage asking if D-Mac and I are still going to do a show together on Mondays. No, we don't work together anymore. So welcome to come on my show anytime he wants. I doubt I'm allowed back the other way, but it is what it is. Like we are a happy, open family here at All Dodgers. So my boss will not tell me no if Doug wants to come hang out and talk Dodger baseball. Anyway, Dennis Gonzalez says Malnati's is some good pizza. Can't call it pizza, though. I think you're supposed to call it pie. But anyway, those are some thoughts there. Diane wants me to say what I really think. I'm not going to do that. Trying to lay low. Sweet Chariot? That's all I got. But one guy who did not lay low today was Tony Two Bags, Hollywood lifestyle himself, Mr. Anthony Rendon. He continues to hate baseball, depending on how you feel like interpreting his words and whether or not you listened to him versus whether or not you read somebody's transcription. In my take, you read Sam Blum's transcription of his interview from Sam Blum from The Athletic, who has a history of having issues with the Angels. He was somebody who, they say he's a little too negative. He says he's, not open. What am I looking for? They're fair, non-biased takes or whatever. There's a little bit of bias, in my opinion, to Sam Blum's take, and that's well within his right. I'm fine with the way he chooses to report things because it does give sports baseball shows his news to talk about, like Anthony Rendon and his words. But I would caution people, or I'd urge people to watch the exchange from with Rendon and Blum, because I think it was a little more nuance to it. But of course, Rendon, I probably should actually have plugged it in here, but Rendon did talk to media today, something he didn't do very much last year as he was injured. But he pretty much said, like, yeah, baseball is not my number one priority. Probably doesn't need to be. I think what he said was fine. It's never been a top priority for me. This is a job. I do this to make a living. My faith and my family come before this job. So if those things come before it, I'm leaving. That's what he was saying. He's like, look, if something happens where, whatever, if something bad happened in the family, I think he has no problem leaving his baseball career behind. We're thankfully not at that point. Demon Shade 21 says he seems miserable. I would fully agree with that one. That's a take I would agree with. But, he also just really wants to be healthy, and I would agree with one of the things Rendon said. Is like, it sucks being hurt all the time, because when you're a baseball player and you're injured, you're on the IL. It doesn't just affect your ability to play. It affects your day-to-day life, your ability to, like he was mentioning, be a dad to his kids and carrying them around and do all that kind of stuff. So I can understand it getting pretty miserable. But the other hand, the flip side of it, this is a dude. He's got to be aware of the fact that he has this reputation as somebody that hates baseball, hates his team, hates making fucking $38 million a year to either play baseball or sit on his ass. And it's like, oh, poor me. Maybe do a little bit of something better to shift that narrative, which I think he was trying to today. But again, if you're just seeing the transcription, and you're seeing the transcription transcribed by somebody that has their own kind of ulterior motives, even though it is just the words, but there's nuance to words, there's intonation to words, there's a smile on the player's face when he's saying something like, I don't want to be talking to you guys at 7 a.m. or whatever time it is. Yeah, of course, he's Tony Two Bags here. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying, he's being very upfront and honest, like, hey, dude, I don't want to be doing this. I would much rather go play baseball, go home. Like, he just wants to have like an 8 to 5 kind of job. Go do my job, go home. But that's not the situation that a baseball player finds himself in, or find themselves in. As 275 Vet brings up a good point here, says when you're a public figure, you do need to think about things before you speak. And Rendon would be a little bit smarter. It would be better if he was a little bit smarter with his words, but he can't do what he did last year, where he completely just like blocked off media, because then that creates more of this narrative and more of this bullshit and more of XYZ and all this, where this reputation has grown into something massive, where he hates baseball and he's just there to get, not even earn, but to get paid, essentially. He's just there so he doesn't get fined. So again, I wish I would have put the clip in here. It's stupid of me not to, but things become things. The important thing is, thank God the Dodgers did not sign Anthony Rendon. I think that's the ultimate thing we could say. Thank you, Hollywood, for stepping in and intervening. His teammate, Mike Trout, apparently very much loves misery, and he is going to die without ever sniffing the playoffs again, because, real quick thing from Trout, he did his interview today and said, I have seen some people kind of equating it to, like, is he soft throwing Shohei under the bus, or, dropping a boulder on him, saying, getting out or asking, as I struggle here, asking for a trade would be kind of like the easy way out. And, I understand Trout's narrative, or his take of saying, yeah, I think it would feel a lot better staying here and winning here, but there's also feeling a lot better and then reality. And he's not living in reality if he thinks the Angels have any shot of winning anytime soon. Maybe I go, we look back and I eat my words on this, because, the Angels, they, I don't want to give the hottest take on it, but they have some intriguing pieces that could make them fun. But the problem, still lies with their owner is Artie Moreno. He doesn't know what he's doing. He does not know how to own or run a baseball team. He doesn't know how to entrust in his baseball lieutenants to put together the type of team that the ball club needs. Instead, he's always just gone out and got the shiny pieces, whether it be, I'll throw it at Vernon Wells, because that's the first one I could think of, a Gary Matthews Jr., and Anthony Rendon, that made no sense when they've always needed some goddamn pitching. So anyways, Trout is happy being miserable. He's happy being able to watch his Birds go play in Philly in October. And, he could be one of the best players to have only barely sniffed sniff the baseball playoffs once in his life and then be kind of done. I really hope it doesn't turn out that way. But, I think it would be smart of him to consider a trade the hell out of Anaheim. That said, I think Mike Trout remains one of the most untradeable players in baseball. Too much money. How do the Angels recoup enough prospect talent back to justify trading away an all-time franchise player? It's a really, really tough situation. Now they could shut everybody up if they went out and signed Blake Snell, because what team does have some money right now? It's the Angels. They got some money to spend. They had ideas on players. They had this guy Shohei Ohtani they did try to bring back a little bit, they claim. But they need pitching, and they need it to be around consistently, and Blake Snell could be a decent enough fit in Anaheim. They have a lax, style. He has a lax style. But he also likes to compete, I guess we'll say. But anyways, some of the comments here, Nando390, going back to Rendon, says Rendon cries in a bathtub full of money. Hey, it is a gold bathtub full of money. Thank you very much. Demon Shade 21 says there are plenty of players with families, but they don't act like this clown. Talking about Rendon, of course. I agree. I think there are a lot of them. And I think, the comment said, you have to think before you speak. Rendon needs to understand that he is a very, very, very public figure that has this narrative that just, if you want to get away from this narrative that's following you right now, just be a little more cautious with your words and understand that some people in the media, Sam Blum, don't like you because of how you treated them last year, even though he's mostly just trying to be a smart ass and a joke and being like, dude, I really don't want to do this, but also doing this comes with the job. It comes with the territory. As I feel like I'm getting sort of into incomplete thoughts here. But anyways, an important thing. What am I looking for? I'm looking for this and this and that and that. Because we got a $5 super chat from Diane. Thank you, Diane. Diane says, this show is much more open than my last show, and I'm sure everybody here appreciates that. Thank you, Diane. Very much appreciate the kind words and the super chat. I set out when making this show and this network to try to, not say anything, hopefully, knock on desk here, that gets me or all of us in trouble, but also, have some fun talking about baseball and, expanding beyond the ABC block of this is exactly what we were going to talk about and yada, yada. But anyway, I'm not going to go in too much deeper on that, but thank you, Diane, very much for the kind words again and the super chat. Jenny Vegas says Clint Nation also wants to cover all things baseball, or I think we're talking to Hector. Hector just wants to talk about Dodger baseball, and I understand that. I will talk about regular all around baseball on the channel. I will talk about Dodgers, and we're going to keep expanding and growing this thing, and hopefully have some fun with it. Hey, if Jolly Olive can get to 100 million subs on YouTube, we can get to 6. Not 6 million, just 6 total subscribers. Nando390 says Trout hates October baseball. Swollen Sausage says Trout is glass now. Not glass now, but glass now. I've noted a few times as we're getting real close to getting the hell out of here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us, of course. But Mike Trout hasn't had a fully healthy season since 2016. So he hasn't exactly been the problem in Anaheim. He has not been a solution either. And that's another one of the things that adds up to him being one of the more untradeable players. Good comment there. Diane says Rendon needs to just keep his mouth shut. Could not agree more, but also maybe not completely, because that's what got him into some trouble last year as well. Kevin Newhouse has an unpopular opinion, maybe. Says, I think Trout is not a clutch player, but we also might not ever know, because he's never going to play in October. So tough for them. We get some love from Rebecca saying this show greater than the other one, and I thank you, Rebecca, for the love, of course. One last thing I wanted to talk about before getting the hell out of here is the Kyle, not Kyle, the other one. What's his name? What's that guy? Damn it! We had it. We talked about him. Greg and I talked about him. Liam, there it is. Not Kyle Hendricks. Liam Hendricks signs the 2-year deal with the Red Sox. I just wanted to point it out because Mr. Greg Bergman and I talked about it for a good bit on last Thursday's stream. The idea of a Hendricks signing, and he's somebody that could help maybe bolster the bullpen as a closer late in the season. That's now not an option. He does sign a 2-year, $10 million with escalators that can get it up to $20 million with the Boston Red Sox. So good for Liam. I think he could be, if they're good, if the Red Sox can find a way to put together a team that kind of works, that could be a really, really good fit, because that is a fun dude in Boston, all that kind of stuff. But the thing, and I hate bringing it up just because I said I wasn't going to talk about him anymore, but I wonder if this starts to fuel even more, or throw even more gas on the annoying Jansen trade fuel fire or whatever, just because they don't need to have 2 closers. I don't think the Boston Red Sox need to have 2 closers. Not that Hendricks will be available until later on in the season, but figure I'd just throw that out there. You're probably going to see more of this Kenley Jansen rumor, even though he's hurt right now, and he's expected to miss a week, but not miss opening day. At least that's what the Red Sox say. But I will end the topic either way with Rebecca's comment. No, thank you. No, thank you to. Wait, or did I miss it? No, okay. I read 2 different comments at once. But no thank you on the Kenley Jansen thing. At least that's what I think I saw. Or I got, there it is. Yeah, no Jansen. There it is. Sorry, there's like 3 different comments. It's sort of all blended together, which probably means the coffee's slightly kicking in here at 8:09 p.m. my time. And I got to go run a quick marathon. So, guys, I appreciate you hanging out. Appreciate you enduring some regular baseball talk. If you guys aren't some of the folks that just enjoy what I do, I hope you'll consider giving us the leeway of having some regular baseball talk, having some Dodger talk, and talking about things all around the league, and maybe even things that have nothing to do with baseball, where we just dick around and have a good time. I am, as you see from the look of the stream tonight, we are slowly changing things. I'm trying to add to the brand and make it more fun, make it more accessible for everybody in some way, even though it's fully accessible here on YouTube. And again, it's completely free. So make sure you mash that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe if you haven't. That helps the channel out more than you can imagine. But if you guys got ideas, again, like I've said before, if you have ideas that you'd like to see on the channel, let me know. Happy to keep growing, happy to keep expanding. But and if you have things you hate, you let me know. Shoot me a DM. I'll cry a little bit, and then I'll stop doing it perhaps. But anyways, I'm Real FRG. You can call me Clint in real life, but find me on the Twitter, on the Instagram if you want. Those are probably the best spots to find me, I guess. And I will see you later on this week, Thursday. I don't know what I'm doing on that show yet, but it's probably going to have to do with talking Dodger baseball. But again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to the show. If you were listening on the podcast side of things, thank you for the great questions, the comments, and thank you so damn much for the super chats. And that's enough talking. Okay, bye.